Hey, I'll see you soon. So, in today's session, I have a private message first, and then I have a small talk. We'll have the healing list, and then we'll have questions. You may ask any question you like, but as always, it is a preference that they are relative to the work we are doing. During the talk, I will give you the name of the title of this talk and also the instruction of what is occurring. So let's begin with our message. There is a person that once used the name Aspen. It is well, dare I say, a pen name, a name that was used briefly, but not a name that is anyway connected to the person. And it is the name and not a location. This person has a repetition of numbers connected to them. And the message I need to give to you is best told in two stories, which I will conclude in a while. But first, I want you to take this message quite seriously and look to see if what my words are saying to you is in fact true. And if you receive the validation that my words are true, you should consider what you are to do. There is the connection, and dare I use a nice name. There is a connection near you that is undertaking a disguise as a smiling assassin. Now, this person, very close to you, is offering everything wonderful and nice, but motives are not what they seem. They look to be friendly, but they are not. They look to be kind and loving, but I suggest to you, you check to see if they are. They are not in the way they are being delivered. You are being enticed like a spider enticed the fly. The fly lands on the web, and if it does not move, it is perfectly safe. If it but to take a step in one direction or other, it will stick to the web. And each minute, the spider is getting a little closer. Takes a little step forward and may step a little bit back. A little forward and a little bit back. It is edging its way closer to you. And there is another story. When the farmer buys, let us say, a piglet, it lets the piglet run wild in the woods for a while, in the open ground, and enjoy its life. And then the farmer says to the piglet, "Come inside, let me keep you warm and safe." And the farmer entices the piglet into a warm rather than the cold outside, and says to the piglet, "Settle here, you'll be safe here." And turns on some warm light, maybe says to the piglet, "Let me close the door so you do not get cold." And as the piglet gets comfortable then, the farmer says, "I know what your favorite food is. Let me give you your favorite food." And the piglet thinks, "I am warm, I am safe, I am well fed, I am loved." The piglet sees love, and the farmer sees pork and ham. Now, I give you this message not because it is nice and light, but rather there is intensity picking up. And you should look for your validation soon to see if what I say is true or not. And if you receive your validation, I tell you now, and in no uncertain terms, I tell you now to take action. But see if what I am saying is true first. And if it is, I told you so. Let us carry on. When one is practicing the true connection to spirit, and in that connection, then one is sitting, let us say, in meditation, or sitting for the connection of spirit, or sitting in the desire for the silent essence of oneself. As one sits, often one becomes very interested and captivated in the message that is being given. And perhaps a person then would start to look for more knowledge regarding what is happening, how it is happening, why it is happening, how do I make it happen for me? If one follows that connection, then one perhaps loses the true essence of what is going on. As one seeks to acquire more knowledge, one forgets the true practice, what is underneath that. The connection of beauty in the brief moments of connection to spirit. And this can be told to you in a story as well. If one considers oneself to be the sky, sometimes the sky is blue with little patches of white. Sometimes it is calm. Sometimes it is grey. And sometimes it is windy, sometimes cold and sometimes warm. And the sky can sometimes have a storm, and maybe even lightning. And lightning here is the opening to glimpses of truth. If one thinks they are the weather, then one does not make the true connection. If one realizes you are the sky, then the weather is quite secondary. If you see the lightning, and the lightning awakens glimmers of truth within your being, you see the reality of a circumstance, or you see a glimpse of the other side. You see perhaps a little moment of a second, or maybe even less, perhaps a little more. The light lightens up, and one sees the truth just for a while, and then it is gone. If you try to hold on to the lightning, you do not see the truth of the situation. One has to return to being the sky. So you do not have attachment, and you do not hold attachment to the clouds or the warm or the cold. You become the sky. So the sky I am referring to here is the true practice. And as circumstances in life pass by, you do not hold them, you just let them be. In the Zen tradition, they have a wonderful saying that they described a promised land, a Robin, and said, it is full of misty mountains, beautiful rain, a gorgeous river. But that is it. And this description sounds very inadequate, doesn't it? But that is our title for today. That is it. It means that what you see, you do not distract by it. You do not acquire the knowledge to learn from it. You have the experience and you go deeper into the experience. You do not hold the little glimmers of wonder and truth and beauty, the little touches of love. You become the sky. And then the wind can pass through. If it is hot and you enjoy that, then that can be let go of. If it is cold, that also can be let go. So the sky says that is it. It's an acknowledgement of non-attachment, an acknowledgement of always coming into the present and being here. It's acknowledgement of your true connection to the essence of you, not in the acquisition or the desire for any wonderful experience that could be there. They will come, The lightning will happen, but it does not affect the sky. So you may have a nice experience and have a glimmer of truth or peace or love. It may last just a while. That is enough. Don't crave more. Don't desire even this to happen in the first place. That takes you away from the true connection of it. One should be the sky, not the storm. And over a period of time, the lightning which lightens up the truth of the occasion will get more frequent. And you'll get more enlightening in time, just brief glimpses, a little bit here, then perhaps weeks or months or years for the next one. But eventually they will pick up in intensity. And you should then just let them go and think, that is it. So no craving to come, which will disturb you. No trying to acquire additional knowledge, which would disturb you. If you found your way, if you are being guided truly, then be settled with your program. You know one way, and one way may be enough for you. Sometimes people say, I must have 20 practices. Every minute or so, I must practice something. That is looking outside for additional knowledge, for additional ways, additional measurements, additional way to perform an act. The truth is, when you are the sky, the wind can blow past, can be hot or cold, bright or dull, rainy or shiny. What difference does that make to the sky? So once you find your true practice, once you find your way, your group, your tribe, once you find the touch of your spirit, your essence, you must just sit there. In the Japanese language, they have the word nan, and it can mean patience. Often it's meant consistency or constancy, meaning the practice just present moment, just now. That is sufficient. Be now, and be in that truth of beauty right now. And that is it. So may I have the healing list of names now, please?
Yes. Amanda and Craig, Eduardo, Claudio, Stephanie, Linda, Joe, Cynthia, Robert, Marissa, Kathleen and Ann, Amanda Thompson, Alex Moore, Danielle, Amanda Kay, Helen, Eric, Stephen, Matthew, Katie, Jill, Peter, the Jacobek family, Andrea, C. Megan, Marianne and Jody, Mirabai, Tina, Mark, Georgia, Sarah, Sharon, Bill, Nicole, Noah and Jody, Alex, Amanda Kay, Ross, Karen, Lily, Brett, Daniel, Edward, Julio, Julio Sr., Lauren, Lenny, Brian, Sean, Christine, and Jeanette. May all be happy. Thank you.
as is our tradition as we come nearer to the time of our break, and today being our last session for a while. I open to question, and anyone may ask anything they feel is right to ask. And if you have a question, perhaps let our host know that you have a question, and either you can ask it yourself, or perhaps if she's kind, she will ask it for you. As I said, I prefer to be about our topic, but you may ask as you see fit. So Mirabai, Mirabai, do we have a question waiting for?
Not yet. Does anybody have a question? Amanda Kay, go ahead.
Hi, Ignatius. It's Amanda.
Amanda, good evening to you. How may I help?
I wanted to know, the last week or so, I have been, and I know you told us to do this before, trying to, like when I'm out for a walk, pause, um, and connect to my essence. When I'm outside or in public, if it's safe, I will just like close my eyes and mentally say, I ask to connect with my essence. And I do feel a change in the energy, but I wanted to know from your perspective, are those little micro requests to reconnect to essence when I'm out and about, is that effective? Is that actually doing anything?
When one connects to or desires to connect to one's essence, one true nature, the soul of oneself, then as one practices, it is the micro practices, as you're calling them, which gradually reinforce the longer, the bigger practices which are to be done. Of course, being micro and very small, their effects are so difficult to measure, but they do support all other action. So one needs to find those moments of connection. The words can be in the way that you are using. They can be the block. Words aren't required. One can just find that practice. So just be conscious that you're not trying to use the mind to go beyond the mind, and absorb to see whether that is the right practice for you. If you prefer, you may actually find the essence of stillness within, at a little spot where there is the purity of you. It is often considered a place, but the place may change very slightly for people. And the place is not so important. So if you want to develop this practice, one starts with mind and says what you would like. One then leaves mind and looks for the feeling of this connection. And one then can leave the feeling of it and find what is true beyond that feeling. That becomes very difficult. Another practice that can assist you is to follow what is sensed around you. So you follow perhaps a noise or perhaps a touch, and you focus onto that touch. You'll discover that what you bring your attention very narrowly to, then that can be the doorway into what is beyond. So the tip of the pencil, as it jumps over the paper, can be the doorway into the place of beauty, but only if one is truly focused on it. So senses can lead you to what is beyond the senses. Mind, if one is not careful, can inhibit the connection that is behind the mind, because the mind will not know the way to go beyond the mind. The feeling can also help you, but then it becomes a hindrance. So senses can help. The others can help a little, but eventually all of these things must be left behind for that true connection to the spiritual self. If one goes back to the story of the sky and the weather, then if one is holding on to the weather, one cannot see the sky. If one is holding to the breath of wind, it may give a sensation that there is some sky and some weather, but it will not lead you directly until one starts to see through it. So find your peace by being peaceful, by being in that place. And that peacefulness will take you to what's beyond the peacefulness, into the essence of peace itself. So do not expect any great differences moment by moment in following micro practices, but each one does assist you. So every meditation that a person is doing is having benefit, even though it is not measurable and not seen. Every practice. And these micro practices, without the desire or expectation for a certain result, will in time reveal the beauty that is there. Don't let any frustration get in the way. Just accept. So often in certain Zen traditions, if we are to use that tradition, their practice is just to sit. If one is sitting, then one is sitting. And there's a phrase that is often used. When you are you, spirit is spirit. Now, of course, this sounds a little poetic, but void or empty of any meaning. What is meant here? The practices are very small and in the very instant of the moment. And at times you follow this micro practice and be focused right into that moment. And in that moment, you are the true you. You may have the lightning, which just brightens the comprehension of what's going on or what truth is being delivered. But as soon as you attach to what's occurred, then you are not you anymore. You are, let us say, a dependent or a desiring you, and therefore you're not the true self. But when you are you, and you are right into that moment and open to the emptiness, the feeling of connection that is there, then spirit are truly spirit, meaning they can flow through that empty space, that open doorway, the open mind, the open heart. But if you are not you, then there's no opening at all or very little. So the micro practices you are talking about seem inconsistent, not enough, that's the word. And if that is true, then nothing will ever be delivered. But what is true in that time, from our perspective, we are seeing you in that second or two or few seconds, letting go of the ego or physical sensation of yourself. Just opening the door, perhaps closing it almost immediately if the practice is that small. But you open the door and a little bit of light comes. And it's closed again, the light is forgotten. And you open it again, a little bit more light comes. Perhaps the door is closed another time. But as one practices this, one starts to realize that what you are truly seeking is right here, right now, not in something to be acquired or chased, but right now. And so that micro practice, that present moment connection, can be the very door that one is seeking. And one could say, do nothing else but micro practices. The benefit of these means there are many of them in the day. And so you could connect many times in the day, and you can be you many times. And if you are you, then spirit is spirit, meaning we are with you in that micro practice. We with you in that brief time that you become the sky and not the weather. You become present and not at the whim of the wind. You are here. And if you are here, then spirit is here also. Amanda, does that assist you?
Very much so. I'm, as always, extremely grateful for your wisdom and your sharing and your commitment to all of us. So thank you so much.
Yes. Well, if you weren't you, I could not be me.
Well, ever onward then. Thank you.
We walk the path together.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
We may as well enjoy that. Thank you for your question. Mirabai, do we have another?
Yes, we do. Deb would like to know, I wanted to better understand the concept with respect to all beings. How does one consciousness work among all of us with respect to our human condition? What is an effective way to enter into the state of oneness?
Right. Well, depending on the person, I would give an answer in different ways. So I'm going to answer it in a few different ways to try to appeal to a broader perspective. So if one is working from the mind and one is a logical person, then the pathway will be a little unsatisfactory as it becomes a little difficult to understand, and then the fog of what's being said becomes, well, I better just trust it rather than understand it. When one is the mind person, then if one looks at what is occurring in their daily life or in life in general, one sees objects and finds it very difficult to see the consciousness that is looking at the object. But the logical mind, if it's allowed to dwell on this topic just for a while, must admit that there is something that looks at whatever the object is. And if one looks at that object for sufficiently, then can you say it exists when there is nothing to observe it? There is no consciousness to watch it. Now, this becomes a little difficult argument because one is saying here, if I see the pen in my hand, then I know the pen exists. But what about the pen that's in the drawer or in the shop yet to be brought? Does that not exist? That's a little deeper answer for that. So one who then follows this mind can accept this argument to a degree that the light of consciousness enlightens the object or makes the object visible. I can accept that part, but what about the deeper part? And that's where it gets a little more complex. If one is following heart and is a heart-based person, one then must work through the heart and enjoy all the feelings and sensations and experiences of life according to the interaction through the heart. And one then says, well, is there not this joy and beauty in the interaction with the world? Is there not this sensation that's wonderful that if I let my heart be open and interact, as opposed to my heart being closed and limited in its nature? And one then does the work and says, well, what if I open the heart a little more and more and more? And here then the beauty of the feelings of sharing, of giving, of loving becomes quite captivating for the heart, because the heart feels quite invigorated and joyful of the experience that the heart is living. And now the question gets more difficult. When the heart then is told, well, all there is love, well, the heart will enjoy it, but never understand it. And the heart, the flow of love through the heart must flow through all of the obstacles of the heart, the karmas, the doubts, the worries, the past issues that one is trying to deal with. So the flow of energy through that heart then becomes joyous in the moment, but the concept seems, again, unsatisfactory to the heart. So the heart cannot fully grasp what's going on, even though it finds its beauty, as the mind finds its beauty with a little bit of contemplation. If one follows the body, one would say, well, the interaction with the world is pleasurable. I must do things which give me pleasure, but avoid the things that give me pain. And of course, then one chases pleasure, and often being a body can be at the expense of others, and one doesn't fully appreciate what is occurring. But the truth is, the unity is beyond mind, body, and heart. The unity must be outside of all these things and not be limited by it. The connection of oneness that one can experience, because that is the essence of oneself, is a moment of instantaneousness. One grasps it immediately. And in grasping it, then one knows it. But this is beyond mind, heart, and body. But this is what you'll find. So there are three ways, three possible viewpoints of the world, but the true way beyond all these 3 points reveals something else. So the question was, how does one connect to that part that is beyond and dwell there ever more, well, ever often or more frequently? So one must then look deeper into these three different positions. Rather than looking at the way the mind interacts with the physical world, the heart or the body, one needs to look deeper into them. Where does this consciousness derive from? Where does love come from? What is the true meaning of pleasure and pain? Why the body? Now this, for one to truly look deeper, one must be willing to settle and to be open. If one's not careful, one only uses what is known, and one must acquire new knowledge, and that cannot be within what is known. It must be beyond that. So by looking deeper into, let's say, mind, to find this source of consciousness, one starts to lose perception of oneself. It's the same with heart and body. If you look deeper into heart, you find love, and you can begin to lose perception of an individual with that. So as one looks deeper inward, then there appears, or disappears, perhaps is the right language, the individual aspect of the person. So as you look into what is the source of this consciousness, you hold your focus upon. Concentration is important. As you hold that focus, the sense of individual self starts to disintegrate. But it will not occur if you are only looking at mind and what the mind knows. You must look deeper. And as one looks deeper into this, then the individual starts to disintegrate, and what is revealed or left over is what is true. So one removes the walls of the house, and the air that's inside mingles with the air that is outside. So what looks like an individual box of air, A-I-R, very soon becomes the universality of air. So the structure can be the obstacle. One is looking for the structure and not the essence in an object. And one looks for structure in oneself and misses the essence that is in oneself. One looks for definition of spirit and misses the spirit that is there. So as one becomes true, one looks further inward. The work is always in that direction. And one must let go and surrender just a little bit each time, or each practice, or each day, week, month, or year. And eventually, all there is the unity that is about. One can glimpse this by the little blast of lightning once in a while, that one just gets a vaguest perception. Perhaps even, as I said, for fractions or even a second. One knows for a while. And yet that glimmer is soon gone. But these little fractions of a second where the lightning lights up the whole of the sky and the sky is seen, they are pathways or arrows or signposts saying, this is the way. And eventually, what is known by either body, mind, or heart and beyond is, in fact, that as the consciousness is going through one pair of eyes, it is also going through the opposing eyes towards you. Is that two conscious or one consciousness? Well, if it's lighting up the whole of the sky, how can it be two? If there's lightning and it lights up everything, how can there be something else? Only if you see object are you then mistaken. Don't see object. See the source of the light that lightens the object. See the source of what's below that. See the source of essence. And that is truly then known. Once you connect to it, it's unmistakable. But one is looking for it in the big and the wondrous rather than in the simple and simplicity. So let me connect the two questions together now. If one was just simply to watch, well, let us say the ant walking over the pavement, just watch it. Hold your focus to it completely. At first, the mind says, ant. The heart says, isn't that beautiful? The body may acknowledge the way the ant's body walks. If you hold your focus long enough upon it, there is a little bit of wonder, a little bit of miracle, a little bit of something that is indescribable and unmissable when you first see it. Very missable if you do not. When you first see it, it is there. You go, ah. But as one practices either mind, heart, or body, then so that is the way the person will live. Live by the sword, you die by the sword as such. Live by the mind, you will be confined by the mind. And this is why, in the previous story that I said, one wants to acquire knowledge, but one needs to let go of that knowledge and just find the connection of true knowledge beyond knowledge. Again, that sounds very difficult words, but it is true. So one finds essence at the foundation of all things. Perhaps the person remembers the story of finding clay beyond every teacup and saucer. If you can see the clay, you only see clay in the teacup and saucer. But if you can't see the clay, it is just a teacup and saucer. The difference between the two is how deep do you look? And you see beyond the form and see clay rather than the shape. Can you see beyond the body and see essence? Beyond the mind and see the flow of love? Beyond the structured mind and see the formlessness? When you see formlessness, when you see love, and you know it. So again, let us use Zen as our example. It is often said that if one does not understand one's teacher's words, then you are not a true disciple. What is meant here is, let us say you and I talk two different languages. And if we talk two different languages, we will perhaps muddle by for a while, but we will have difficulty in our communication. But the language of spirit is not in words, is it? It's not in thou must go here, do that one understands truly spirit. The language of spirit is in silence. And if you can find silence, you will understand spirit. And then the messages are completely understood. And the master, spirit, is completely understood. So to be a true disciple of spirit, one would find that silent space. And that silent place can be found in the micro practices, the ant, the looking deep into oneself, and looking at a teacup and seeing clay and not cup. So what truly awaits you is the falling away of your limited boundaries of self, mind, body, or heart. And when those boundaries collapse, either in your meditations or at the time of your passing, all that is revealed is the truth that was there all the time. Death is the great revealing, not an enduring. It is a great opening, not the closing of a box or a lid. It is the opening of a lid, opening of oneself, the going past the mind. So if you remember, some time ago, I gave a story of a man who enjoyed his pipe. And what he used to do after a hard day's work, he would sit by the fire and light his pipe and sit in the beauty of just being with him, with himself, and with the pipe. And he used to find moments of satisfaction and bliss. And if you asked the man, you would say, it was the tobacco or the pipe or the flame which gave me bliss. And therefore the bliss is in tobacco. This would be an error, wouldn't it? I'm sure you can see that. The bliss is not in the pipe or the tobacco or the burning of the tobacco. It's in the relaxation and the man letting go of the need to be something during his day and letting himself relax. So relax your mind, relax your heart, relax the needs of your body. And the lid is opened, not closed. And the unity is everywhere. In the ant, in the tobacco, in the man, in you, in the weather. So there are a few stories, and I'm sure to a mind, none of them are truly adequate, and to a heart give the nicest of experiences. But why use something limited to find something unlimited? Why use form to find formlessness? Just look through the form, and the dawn of the day arrives. It's nothing special. It's nothing special because it is the truth. The claiming to be something special and wondrous and is part of the error. Don't try to hold the lightning, be the sky. Don't try to be tomorrow, be now. Don't try to gain or gauge a prize or perhaps even additional knowledge and understanding. Work through and use your senses. Find what is beyond them. And then it opens and awakens beautifully. And this is what's meant by the flow of the Tao, the unseen way, the way that is not known, and yet the way that describes and defines, the way that gives birth and the way that takes death, the way that is beyond birth and beyond death, and yet is only birth and only death. It's not a description of the object, but a description of what is beyond the object. So the feeling of unity, the feeling of true connection, the feeling of the beauty of the spiritual nature, one must find your door. And this is why those micro practices seem so inadequate, because they're so small. But if the door is small to begin with, at least it's a door. At least you're looking for the door. If you stare at the door long enough, it opens. And what awaits you is not destruction, but is birth, the true birth, the true connection to the beauty of you beyond anything your mind can put pictures and colors and words and poetic nature to. So I come from the land of nothing special, I suppose. And I wait for you there, and you sit there next to me. And if you're sitting next to me in the land of nothing special, what's to be done? So the beauty is for all, because all are the beauty. There's a nice phrase. Mirabai, I trust that answers, perhaps gives a little peace to one's mind and heart for the questioner. I leave it at that for now. Is there another question before I resign for my day? Well, from your day.
Deborah Cohen has a question. Go ahead, Deborah.
Hi, Ignatius. Lovely to be with you again.
Yes.
If I may, can I ask a question, please, about generational trauma and karma?
Yes.
So, my question, I guess it's two parts. One, does both naturally lessen and diminish with each passing generation? And I guess the other question related is, in any given generation, does the energetic work of one and the spiritual work of one to dilute or diminish that inure to the benefit of everybody else that otherwise carries it?
Yes, right. Now, what the basis of your question is best answered by reviewing where you asked the question from. Now, this, of course, is a point I've brought many times. If one is looking at the physical body, karma then is something one endures, same perhaps with mind and heart. If one looks beyond mind, heart, and body, then one finds something that is beyond there. And in that position, then the karma is experienced, but not carried. But it's perhaps remembered. And karma will stay in the memory of an individual forever if it needs to. And so, as lifetimes come into fruition, the soul will pick up a life and say, today I am farmer, and tomorrow I am, let's say, nurse or something else. And the karma lays dormant until the appropriate time for that expression to take place. Now, it sounds like I am describing here individuals, but it's exactly the same should karma be occurred within a family group. The karma stays within the family group and within the memory of family for quite some time. So the karma can then be delivered or experienced, endured, or one receives the goodness of karma when the appropriate time takes place. And you never know when that has been acquired or when it will come into flowering. If you look at this then as individual, you would say, well, how does the karma of father affect some son many lifetimes ahead? And from an individual perspective, it sounds like that's not even possible. But when one sees the unity and connection beyond, let us say, father and son, then one will also see that the oneness is still there. And it's expressed at different times. And today you are father, tomorrow you are son, or in 100 lifetimes you are son. Now, let me be sure here and tell you that there is no man on a cloud that keeps a tally to say, you owe me one or I owe you one. There is nothing like that except. But it is the flow of memory that occurs within the essence of truth. And the memory flowing from lifetime to lifetime, generation to generation. Of course, as one is born, one does not remember the previous life, but the memory is still there. And if you think of the true connection to spirit, well, in spirit, we do not use memory. There is no point in having memory because everything is known. So what is the point of memory? I don't need to try to remember what occurred yesterday in your world. Just open and there is the answer. So hence there can be no karma in spirit. The soul just carries the karma from life to life within the mind into terms of memory. And as it goes from one life, from father, into another life of something else, well, that memory is still there. And so then one endures the result of that karma in subsequent lifetime. Karma is often considered a negative word, that you did bad once, you'll do bad or receive bad at some other time, but it is also just the flow of your energy and vibration. So if today you are a very violent person, and Deborah, I'm not saying that you are, but if you are a very violent person, you can imagine your energy is perhaps a little bit more challenging than perhaps another. So the vibration then and the memory then is continued on through the soul to the next life, and one experiences the outcome of that. So it's like going to a movie or moving, you only like one genre. And you go into that one genre and you witness, let's say, the romance in one movie, and then you'll have romance in the next and the next. So the secret to karma is not in the let us do battle with it. is to evolve one's vibration and to go beyond one's memory. If karma comes to you in this life and you receive either the reward or the restriction that it's meant to deliver, see it that at last it is done. I have paid my price or got my reward. It is over. Be free from it. If you are not, then you are holding on to the clouds and not being the sky. So the flow of karma can be through for an individual. If you look at that individual, then it goes from one to another, but the individual is also unified. So you come into this world with the connection with brother and sister, mother and father, and daughter and son, as is appropriate. And if the karma is with one, it can be with all. So great nations can also have karma. Some countries, having done bad in one place, will perhaps get a circumstance on a different level blow through the wind of that country. They will suffer the consequence. So the memory then of what they did bad one year, well, then it is rewarded or repaid at another time. So if you look at your current life, you could say within your current climate of existence, be it at a country or anything else, look at the karma being inflicted on another country or another segment of even one's own country. Well, that karma will come back because it lay in the memory of that country in terms of energy and vibration and will be expressed or returned back to that. So karma then can be seen as the boulders in front of the door of the true expression of spirit. If you concentrate on them, they'll have all the more significance. If you want to go beyond them, lift your energy, lift your vibration, go beyond memory and sit in the purity of spirit. And if you can sit there, then you are you and spirit are spirit. And so, again, I've mentioned in other talks, if you find that truth of you, if you find that place of emptiness, of silence, of void, all problems do not exist because they are just experiences. So then the flow of life is driven in three factors. The first is the factor of memory and what the soul must experience. It is driven by the purity or impurity of mind and heart. So the life being experienced can be because the mind is less than pure or the heart is less than open. And so the way life looks to an individual, the movie on the screen, then becomes a reflection of what's truly inside of one. And that's consistent with other points of view, saying if you're feeling anger on the inside, you see anger on the outside. To look with clear eyes, look from the right position, not from body, not from mind, not from heart. Look at life through the open. When you are truly sitting in the openness, no karma can exist. So you either battle the physical life and deal with one boulder of karma, but all action just results in an equal and opposite other action, and therefore more karma is created. And there's more memory created, so another karma is to be lived another time. See what's beyond it. Go through it. Where is this place where there is no karma? So your answer to your question is perhaps possible in a smaller amount of words, and that is, find your spirit, stay there, and nothing then is endured, only experienced. No karma is created, and one travels beyond the veil into purity. Thank you, Deb. Again, I fear my answer is perhaps a little inadequate, but I hope it encouraged you to find for yourself. I will guide you if you ask.
Thank you, Ignatius. Very helpful and instructive. Appreciate it.
Of course. It is my pleasure, my dear. It's very interesting that in our plan, our natural unfoldment to one's spiritual truth that we have been working with, that we come to a point where we fold away and reveal what is true underneath perhaps what is obvious and what is seen, what is known. And we must fold this away still further. We must release those who are caught in mind and body and heart and say, well, let us experience death together, you and I. Let us cross the veil. So you can experience it in a non-physical sense before one day eventually you will experience it in the physical sense. So the process of looking at death that we will do next year is one of revealing truth underneath. It's a most wonderful topic. We'll do that. There is much that is going to be evolved next year. Much in terms of what Spirit is going to offer, but much also for you. Many of you are going to experience opportunities to be bright and light, opportunities to be full of love and wonder, opportunities that you have asked for and are being delivered. If you want to claim that prize, that opportunity, that special moment or moments, then one needs to open to the possibility of it. And one needs to open to one's own truth and let the opportunity flow to you. It's not being held back from any. But you've just got to know which bush to look under. And that is delivered to you. We always give the same to all people, but only those who are ready will pick up the message and say, it is my right to have this. So I offer you all my love, I offer you all my presence, my being to be with you. But if you're not ready to hear it just yet, it does not mean it is not there. So have your micro practices, look beyond the body. And that is where the message lies. And if you speak the language of Spirit, you will understand Spirit. The language of silence says a lot more than the language of words. But you'll never know until you listen and are ready to receive. I give to you all with an open heart and with a bright mind. May God bless you all until we speak again.
God bless you, Ignatius. Thank you. We're most grateful, always.
There you go, folks. Okay. Take care. All right. Oh, gone over. All right. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Pleasure. Bye, Dave.